and then the other thing about reinforcers to really understand is that, you know, and this is going to be like, when I first say it, it's going to be so obvious, and you're like, oh, everybody knows that. Okay. You have to reinforce with something the cat, you know, is willing to work for, right? Remember, reinforcement increases the frequency of the behavior. Okay, so that seems like it's obvious, but I've seen a billion times that somebody is trying to get the cat or dog to take the reinforcement and they don't want it. Or they're kind of like, yeah, well,
it's sitting there. Yeah.
It's like, well, it's kind of interesting, but not really. Okay, and then they keep trying. The person keeps trying. Or the person even grabs it and like sticks it in their mouth and like it, and then it falls out.
As in the definition of insanity.
If you got it.
That might be a positive punishment.
It could very well be.
Yeah.
It could very well become a punishment. Okay? And so what you're doing now, that doesn't mean that always like you offer something and the cat refuses it and then you immediately like abandon it and go, you know, okay, I need to try something else really fast. Not necessarily. Okay? The first step that I do actually is I evaluate what's going on. Okay? So maybe this is a food or something that the cat really does love. Okay, and I've checked it out, and the cat is like, I'm on that, I love it. And then when he did something, I clipped him and I went to give it to him, and right at that time, you know, somebody slammed the door. And the cat's like,
Think.
Yeah.
you know, you're the, oh my God,
Dog bark.
You just have to start all over at that point, right?
Right, so at that point, I'm not going to be like, oh, my reinforcement isn't strong enough. My reinforcement isn't strong enough when a dog barks. Okay, but it may be strong enough when the dog does not bark. Okay, so I'm going to take that and, do you guys keep training journals?
Not really.
Or logs of any sort?
We attempted the logs, but nobody ever filled them
I
out.
know it's hard.
Yeah.
It's another step, you know, and
But we do have a blog now on the website,
right?
and and I'm posting on there so people can read about what behaviors, what cats do.
And at the other shelters I worked with, it's always been, if you can get that log or that paper or, you know, whatever you use, little cards in there, things, whatever, to the cat. Like if you can have it by the cat, it's more likely to get used, as opposed to like having to come to the office and get it. Like if whatever you're using is, you know, right there by the cat, it gets used more frequently.
Maybe we could just use the back side of the sheets that you've got on the cage.
Yeah.
That show what they've already been trained to do. And
Yeah.
Just
and then like weekly or, you know, whatever, or somebody comes in and then like compiles that info, you know, or whatever. Because then you can have that in your mind like, okay, in general, the chicken pieces were really great for, you know, Baron. Okay. But when the dog was barking, he like lost it. So we need to search for something that dog barking, that we can use with dog barking. Because wouldn't it be great to get
fear
him,
is a big behavior that we need to work with here.
The what?
The fear.
Fear, exactly. Yeah, because in a shelter environment, you can't control like all of that stuff. You know, that was one of the biggest things when I came from private, you know, home business stuff to shelter work, was that all these things that I could do in the home, I couldn't do it in the shelter. I'm like, we need to set up a safe room for the cat, blah, blah, you know, la, la, you and your spouse, you stop fighting, you know, no screaming and yelling. In a shelter, man, it ain't happening. Okay, so you have to like figure out how you can minimize what you can minimize stressful-wise. Then the stuff you can't minimize, you should be focusing on that.
How are you keeping all the cats line up for treats whenever I've got treats lined out? How are you handling it?
What if they line up?
Yeah.
I let them sit where they're at, but I'll back up. And I won't do anybody until I decide who I want to reward.
Yep.
And then I will step toward the one I want to reward. The other ones have to stay. Okay. And then usually after a little while, as soon as the first one gets it, the others are like, aha, okay, I'm gonna wait till she...
Competition.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till she approaches me, and I'll do that in cage 6, and I do it in cage 4 before, and that's how I would control who would
That's hard
react
though,
to the
'cause
food.
often you break out the treats and they're on ya.
Yeah.
It is hard, but I'll tell you, and that's why I say like
A little patience will go a long way.
Exactly. We give up too soon, right?
Yeah.
We lose patience. We get frustrated too quickly. If we would just oftentimes take deep breaths and kind of stop and like, okay, what's going on? Cats are very good observational learners. Very good.
They'll teach each other.
They teach each other. Okay, they can teach each other good things. They can teach each other bad things.
Yep. It goes
yeah.
both ways.
Okay, so really good at that, and so use competition. Absolutely, I use competition. Okay, so hey, look at this cat over here.
Yep.
He gets reinforced, and then everybody's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna like climb up your leg and stuff. Oh, I'm gonna go back over and read
The
more
13
Bible. You're
cats
climbing
will
up
do
my
that.
leg. Okay, and then pretty soon they're like, wait a minute, climbing up the leg doesn't work. What the heck is he doing? Sitting there. All right, let me try that. Yay, good job. And it may not initially be like where you really want that cat to sit, but
Just
you
as
get,
long as
you
they
start
get
with
the
baby steps.
behavior. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then build it up. Okay? So that's why I say you want to really be searching constantly for what reinforces that individual. Okay? So you don't want to stop with just food even. And certainly not with commercial cat treats. Okay? Don't
Scratch on the neck, scratch behind the ear,
Mhm.
or just, letting them rub on you. That's a very
Sometimes,
powerful
yep.
reinforcer for them.
Headbutts, if you have the kitties that love headbutts.
Yep, there are a few that do have butts.
They like that, and then for food, a lot of commercial cat treats are really kind of boring, right?
Yeah.
So, search outside of that. And then the other things like play. Okay, play can be a great reinforcer.
Especially for level 2s.
Yeah,
The ones
if they're
that are-
have a lot of energy, a lot of arousal problems, what I do is the play is contingent on relaxing or calm. Okay, so I'll teach them a go-to spot. Okay, so like go-to mat or, a certain place in the area
Katie
or
will
whatever.
do that.
Yep, go
On the
to
chair.
this.
Ah,
And then you sit there calm. Okay, we leave. And we play. Okay? And then we stop. The toy goes maybe behind her back or, whatever, depending on your setup. Okay? And then you can cue them back. Okay, go to your mat. Okay. Good. And then you're waiting for him to calm down. Okay, so it's like with dogs, the on-off switch, it's huge. So what we're actually doing is teaching this cat to calm himself down when he gets excited. He gets excited, woo, and then he has to calm himself down.
Are you doing that as soon as she comes out of the cage, or you're letting her run around a little bit?
No, she's got to go to her chair. She's got to sit.
Right away.
Yep, and she's
Okay.
got to stay. And I do stay, and
Yep.
then up. And then she
And
can
maybe
go.
the first
I've
session
been
you
letting her
just,
get
like
away
maybe
with
the
it too much,
first
yeah.
session or something when she's first learning, you let her come out and, get her little willies out and then start training some
Well,
mats.
what I haven't been doing is
know.
reinforcing what Annette's already taught her, so Annette and I need to do
Yeah, we definitely want, and that's one of the, again, the things where the logs really help is that you can, what's really important to work on with this cat, and then how to follow up. Okay, grooming, right? I always have a little brush and those kitties that like the chin scratches and do some grooming, all that sort of thing.